The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Yemen says that its local partners report that airstrikes hit one of the IDP camps and the surrounding area in Hajja, and that there are reports of civilian casualties. The United Nations and its partners are working to verify this information. That there are security responses. While those are needed, they must be done in a way that protects human rights. And as the Secretary General made clear, fighting extremism while committing abuses is not only wrong, but it's also counterproductive. Yes.
Presence the United Nations have on the ground in Yemen? Because I understand their mission was pulled out to Djibouti and other areas. Also, did you get any reports about hitting a hospital today and yesterday in Sana'a itself? Also in some IDP camps in the south, not just close to Sana'a.
I don't have anything about hitting of hospitals, but we would be concerned about any strikes that target civilian facilities and facilities such as hospitals that are intended to protect civilians, and we made that clear again in our statement and remarks last week. Regarding our presence on the ground, at this point, you're quite right that a large number of our international personnel were temporarily relocated over the weekend. About 100 international personnel moved out on Saturday. At the same time, there are 13 international humanitarian, largely humanitarian personnel, and about 700 local staff and partners working to carry out the mandates that we have, including the critical humanitarian needs in Yemen, which, as you know, have further increased with these recent military operations.
That there are a lot of Somalis and African refugees in Yemen. Are there any arrangements for their evacuation? Yemen hosts over 1 million of refugees, I believe, from neighboring countries.
At this stage, there's no discussion about that. What we're trying to do is make sure that all of the people who are in need in Yemen are still being tended to, and we're trying to do that. We're trying to stand our ground and serve them as much as we can. Yes.
To Yemenis, are there any ships waiting, for example, if there is any reprieve or any interval in the fighting so that they can go in? Also, Pakistan has many citizens there. They were trying to evacuate them from Aden. It seems they are stranded and very difficult to get them out. Are there any arrangements or talk with the Saudis to have a ceasefire so that such aid can be delivered and evacuation can be done?
There have been some pauses in the fighting that have allowed windows for people to travel outside of Yemen. In fact, it was during some of these windows over Saturday that we were able to get some of our own personnel relocated temporarily to Djibouti and to Addis Ababa. If there's need for further travels, we'll make preparations at that point. Right now, what we're doing is monitoring the situation and seeing what other steps need to be done to ensure the safety and security of our personnel on the ground. And we trust that the countries that are involved in these operations will allow for further opportunities for different people to get their nationals outside as need be.
From your personnel on the ground, are they reporting any humanitarian crisis at this stage?
We've made it very clear our humanitarian concerns. There is certainly a major humanitarian impact from these operations, and consequently, we've kept some of our team in place so that we can do as much as we can to continue to provide humanitarian assistance to those in need.
Would the Secretary General call for a ceasefire in Yemen? Because with what's happening?
You saw what the Secretary General said, and I would just refer you to the language of his statements, including the remarks he made over the weekend. Have a good afternoon, everyone.